everyone, and welcome to Taking Over. I am, of course, OLED Ed Fries, joined as always by the natural Astrid Massaro. Astrid, how are you doing this evening?
Doing better, thankfully. How are you doing?
It's been a long week for OLED, especially the weekend. Like, OLED got wrestling ambitious over the past, I want to say, week. And it may have been too much for good old OLED here, because I watched Raw last Monday live from the Garden, Boston Garden. The better of the two gardens. Let's just be honest here. The better of the two gardens. Then, of course, we talked about PPW last week on the show. Then, over the weekend, I watched BST Wrestling, Blood, Sweat, and Tears Wrestling. I watched Chaotic's latest show. I watched November Karana from Beyond Wrestling. I also found time last night to go to Beyond Wrestling's Wrestling Open in Rhode Island to watch the WWE ID Women's Championship things happen. And again, congratulations to Lanie Luck on that one. Didn't have her on my bingo card as the winner of that one, I'll be honest. I think she was the right choice from WWE's perspective. I think she's a good choice. I just thought that there were names that the WWE ID program would want to have above her. And again, that's no shade to Lanie Luck. Lanie Luck has been in this business for a number of years, is one of the best in the business. Hell, if I remember correctly, that's Chelsea McKenzie. Never mind. I was going to say, isn't she helping run the Dreamwave, the new training school that Dreamwave has opened up? But that's Chelsea McKenzie. But being able to see all of those women last night, the 6 women we had in the one fall qualifying match, to then go into the match with the other 5 women in the elimination match, was just fantastic. The opportunity to see talent that I didn't know when I'd have the opportunity to see them again in the Northeast, like Brittany Brooks, who we've talked about on this show, Nixie XS, who we talked about on this show, who I found through this show, Eric Academia, who I found on this show, who I bought merch from last night because OLED had to spend as much money as he could because these meet and greets are going to kill OLED's pocketbook. It's been
But it's worth
a
it.
week. Not to mention, we had to watch and enjoy West Coast Pro Wrestling, which, again, was just the cherry on top of everything else, because this show was a bit of a banger. And like I said, we pick these shows because we look at the match cards and go, this is a match I want to see. This is a match I want to see. You know, Karl Fredericks in the early days of his return back to the indie scene. Like him or not, having Gabe Kibb on an independent wrestling card, it's a bit of a... And especially having that one-on-one matchup. 2 incredibly talented wrestlers who both were trained in Japan. You know, who both spent a lot of time over there in Japan working with each other. You knew that match was going to be a bit of a banger. Maya World versus Willow Wessels. That's just like having Willow on a show. And I've been waiting to try to like pick and choose like where we can find, because her indie dates have started to become more and more sparse. So it's like finding a show where she's on it, where the rest of the card is really good, was hard to do. Being introduced to great new talent that we're going to talk about in just a little bit was sensational. Zach's here in the chat saying happy birthday to Mickey and Minnie Mouse. That must mean it's some kind of a Disney-related starting date here. We've got Bobby in the chat. Hello, my friends. How are you? I am good as long as I don't look at the vertical side. If I look at... So, for those of you that don't know, I'm experimenting with StreamYard's new thing to have both landscaped and vertical presentations of our show. One, that means that my screen is a fucking disaster right now, because I'm looking at 2 OLEDs, 2 Astrids, and a chat while trying to keep up with notes on another screen and making sure that the stream's running okay. So OLED is in a bit of a tizzy here right now. So we're gonna yes, STG. You won
Little
by
Linda.
0.35 points in fantasy football this week. Fuck you. 2 Acids is okay, but two OLEDs is absolutely a bit too. 1 OLED is a bit too much, let alone 2.
Where, if I have 2 OLEDs, where's my drink at? Hold on. Where's my bottle at?
Here, hold on, let me pass. I heard the PC title back, so here, let me pass it to you. And the funny thing is, we could do that because you have a bottle of Fireball now with Randy Orton's signature on.
Somewhere. I don't have it here, to be honest. Yeah.
But anyways, we are here to talk about. We also have Millie in the chat. Don't want to forget Millie. Hello.
No.
I always have to switch to the landscape version, not vertical, because it throws me off hard. Yeah, imagine trying to stream with the both of them side by side in this room. Thankfully, I believe Astrid's found out how to turn it off, so she shouldn't have to see both of them. Oh no, she didn't turn it off. Right above our heads is a little button that says show vertical or hide vertical. You can do it that way.
Well, I'll figure it out.
Here, I'm going to give everybody a little look behind the curtain.
No.
Yes. We're going to do this. This is going to be fun. So, if I share I can share this. This is going to go a little Inception on me, but here we go.
No.
This is what it looks like. Yeah, so Inception. There's OLED Inception. You now had so many OLEDs on your TV screen, you don't know what to do with.
I'm definitely going to need a drink.
That's fine. I do too. November 1st, the 7-year anniversary of West Coast Pro Wrestling. We are here to talk about how the West was won. This is indeed a fun show with a fun promotion. Katie Scarlett is their ring announcer. She did a fantastic job. Really enjoyed her. We had, let me see, I put this in the notes even though Ashton didn't have it in there. We had James Kincaid and Righteous Reg on commentary. I'll be honest. He said Righteous Reg multiple times on commentary, and I missed it. However, I thought the commentary was really good throughout the show. I really did. I thought it wasn't the best commentary team we've had. And again, we've had some really good commentary teams. Again, it's hard to beat Ashe Wrestling and Chris Lee and Swole. Like, they're at the top right now of like our commentary teams.
Yep.
You know, no shade to my love of Chaotic. And again, we kind of get a pass on this because we didn't have commentary for PPW. So we don't have to worry about shading Papa Smokes and Bobby Munson. Because when we reviewed that last week, we were not given a copy with commentary. All right, so STG asks a good question as we're sitting here talking. What is good commentary to you both? Astrid, you give your example, then I'll go ahead and give mine. Because as he says, some different definitions. And actually, the two of us have a slightly different definition to this.
Somewhat, yeah. I think for me, what made Usher really stand out was that they gave us information on the wrestlers and they helped us recognize who's who in the match, especially the people that are watching it for the first time. And on top of it, they gave us backstories. So anything that we missed before, they're like, hey, so-and-so won the championship from so-and-so. And things like that, like basically telling us to how we got where we are right now. And they gave us background on the people, telling us about like their stories and their styles and things like that. I like hearing those backstories more than anything. And how it's connected to where we are at that moment right there and there for that particular match, for example, or that particular promo that's happening there. And that's why I like the show a lot, because they gave a lot of details to it. And especially when we had Cedric Alexander on commentary too. He was talking about the people that were in the match because he knew them too. So I feel like he gave like an extra layer of information that a lot of people don't really give out. And I like the fact when they go, oh yeah, so and so we got to, let's say, Maya versus Willow, because Willow challenged Maya to a match or something like that. Like, give us that kind of information that if I'm watching it for the first time, it's good information for me to know as the match is happening. And especially when you're doing tag team matches, telling me, oh, so and so is the one wearing this gear, so and so is wearing this gear. Like, the fact that you can tell me who's who, so I can keep track of that during the match is really important to me. I forgot what show it was that they didn't tell us who was who in the tag team match.
Uprising. It's
And
Uprising.
then and it was really confusing at first, especially with the twins. That was very specific because we had a set of twins in the show, and they didn't tell us which one was which. So I was like, how am I supposed to know from my notes which one is which? Are you telling me about? Because I have no idea. So I feel like that they could have done better at it. And I think it was only one guy, so I felt bad even just giving that kind of feedback. But he was by himself at the same time. But yeah, I feel like the more information you give me, especially because I'm watching it for the first time, I feel like that's the better for me in the end.
So my definition is a little less wordy, but a little bit more intricate. I want a commentary team that can do all of the things Astrid said. I want to know the everything about everything, but I also don't want to be beaten over the head with it like WWE sometimes does. I want it to be so suavely put through, so swiftly put through the commentary that people who are watching for the first time feel like they've been watching forever and they know everything going on. But like a Marvel movie, the more you watch, I did call Astrid wordy. That definition was incredibly wordy. For people who watch regularly, you don't feel like you're hearing things that you already know for the 13 millionth time. So there's a big difference between the two. The other thing I would say is I like a bit of a contentious booth. I like a booth where somebody gets a little bit in the other space if they need to. The reason why Chris and Big Swole worked so well is because Swole wasn't worried about getting in Chris's face about a couple of things. She was able to disagree with Chris. Whereas with West Coast Pro Wrestling here right tonight, hello, Miss Mel. Why did I know Mel would be watching tonight of all, just out of, sheer coincidence, I was sure she'd make it on time for tonight's show. Can't imagine why that is. But no, I like the idea of being able to have a bit of a heel face dynamic on commentary. And again, I grew up in what I consider the heyday of wrestling commentary. I grew up with the Jesse Venturas when he was in the booth. I grew up with the you can give me the evil eyes all you want. It's fine. I can go ahead and I grew up with Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon on commentary. I grew up with Vince and Jerry Lawler on commentary. And while Vince isn't a great commentator, that booth worked really well with the two of them because of the fact that there was a back and forth between the two of them. I thought it really worked well. There was a lot of things to like about that commentary booth. Vince McMahon on commentary is a train wreck from a technical wrestling standpoint. He didn't know a lot of the technical wrestling, but there was a lot of fun and interesting things that went on there. I like humor as much as the next guy, but especially when I'm watching my independent wrestling, I've found that I'm backing away from necessarily of humor because some people's idea of humor on these shows is a lot different than what I want it to be. And we've seen that with a couple of commentators we have where they say things that they think are funny and then we go, ooh, that didn't land with me. But again, like I said, I really like this commentary team. I thought they did really well. Reg and James Kincaid worked incredibly well together, but it was lacking for me with that heel face dynamic. They were both on the same page. They were both coming at it very bipartisan. We're on the side of both people. They didn't get on the heels. They didn't get on the baby face. Like it was lacking that little bit of extra oomph for me, but that's fine. It is what it is. I don't know what a 6'7" is. I know that there's a meme and the joke, and I'm not going to go ahead and... Zach, we did you 3 times at the beginning of the show. No, go away. Some of my best memories as a heel repeat. Yes, like, I love me a Wade Barrett. I love me a Corey Graves when he doesn't have to do play-by-play. Those things are fantastic. I adore those things. But again, I think if we give me great banter that's not disrespectful and proof you actually know anything about who you're watching and what you want. I agree. And again, the reason why I think Chris and again, we keep going back to Chris and Swole because they're our measuring stick right now on commentary. The reason why I think Chris and Swole work so well is because Chris is a professionally trained wrestler. he may not have done things in his career to the level of Swole did, to the level of Cedric, but he's a trained wrestler, so he knows what goes on in and outside of those ropes. Swole is obviously, an infinitely championed wrestler. I don't know how many championships she's won, but championships and accolades are not new to Big Swole. She is fantastic. And again, we'll be talking to them and we'll be seeing them very shortly as we're covering Ashe in December. I'm already just going to throw that out there. I think it's the December 9th taking over. We're covering Ashe Wrestling's anniversary show. So it's very much, so I was saying, I'm almost certain it was December 9th. Mm-hmm. But we're here at How the West Was Won with a whole bunch of fun stuff. And let's start with a 6-man tag match. How about that, Astrid?
Yes.
We've got the Young Dead making up ETK, Michael Mori, and Vishnu Akali, I believe is how the thing was pronounced. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Taking on, and again, this promotion is going to kill me with pronunciations. All right. The Suavecitos.
Okay.
Made up of Dani Rose, Adrian Quest, and Ricky Yee. I did like that Andre Quest came out wearing a Dodgers jersey to a San Francisco crowd that then started chanting for the Blue Jays. Because, again, remember, this is a November 1st show. It is in the midst of the World Series. And I never thought I'd hear a California crowd cheering against the California team in the World Series. But again, this is what made this crowd really great, is that they were using... I mean, we could talk all about the World Series and the wonderful greatness that is the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Oh, weird.
Crickets? Okay. Astrid, why don't you go ahead and give me a little bit of a rundown of what you thought about this 6-man tag match?
SCG's gonna throw me off again with the comments. I really enjoyed this one because it was a fun tag team to begin the show with. I like more like the psychology behind it, because we had most of the match, I would say, Michael Mori from Young Dead that was very isolated from his team at so many points during this match, and they tried what they could to really take advantage of this somehow. And I like the way they did it. They even used the jersey at one point to choke somebody, to choke him, Mori, to be honest. But yeah, Mori was the one that was the most in this match, and it was more about that part of seeing the heels really take advantage of this more than anything, of like keeping him there as much as he could. But even then, they still win at the end. But I like the dynamic here that they have between both teams.
Yeah, I was really impressed with both Suavecitos and the heel actions of the way they managed to be able to do that. Can we get redemption? Ed pronounces any word, you put it in the chat, because he admitted he's bad at pronunciation. I mean, we can, but let's not, because God, this show is going to kill me at points with this. No, I really like this. I thought the heels were really, really good in this. They stood out to me. Rose, Quest, and G really stood out to me as like really fun and interesting. And they all seem all very young into this. None of these guys seem like they're in this for many years. I'm very excited to see where these kids go. They're not necessarily on my ones to watch yet, because 2 people really stood out as ones to watch, and we'll talk about them a bit later on. But I really enjoyed this match. It was a nice opener. It didn't take too long. And at the end of the day, the good guys get the win. That's what we want to see. Start off the show right. Big win for the good guys. Let's go. All right. Now, as a Boston native, this next one was very interesting for me, because we had Miko, Alana taking on Sweet Caroline, who comes out to Sweet Caroline from Neil Diamond. The reason why that's interesting to me as a Bostonian is because the Boston Red Sox have adopted Sweet Caroline as part of their anthem. So during the 7th inning stretch of every Boston Red Sox game, Sweet Caroline plays throughout the stadium. And having been to, yes, ba, ba, ba. Having been to many, many Red Sox games in my life, it is an amazing thing to hear the better part of 20,000 people singing Sweet Caroline word for word, because we've all heard it our entire childhoods. So I was instantly a fan of Sweet Caroline in this match. This was her debut here at West Coast Pro Wrestling. And what a show to debut on, a 7th anniversary show. I always find it interesting when they bring in new talent who they don't normally have on these shows onto these big anniversary shows who aren't big name talent. Because it's one thing to bring in people who are name talent who you want to go ahead and have. Yes. She's going to throw me off my game now. SCG's going to throw you off yours. She's going to throw me off mine with Sweet Caroline. Because I'm trying to forget the song and not have it playing in the back of my head right now.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I liked Millie for a reason. She likes the Red Sox. That's a reason. I thought this was really interesting. I liked the idea that Miko was playing the slightly more veteran wrestler who thought she was too good to even be here.
No.
And the way that played into the match. Hell, I bought that Caroline was going to win this match at a couple different points in this match. Mm-hmm. I thought it was really good. The X Factor from Caroline was really impressive. And at the end of the day, I thought she was going to pick up the win. But that Tiger Driver, Jesus Christ, was that something.
Yeah. I love Miko being the powerhouse, though, more than anything. Like, she does her role so well. Like, I can give you that much. Sweet Caroline, when I saw her wrestling with her kicks, really reminded me a lot of Cassie Lee, aka, mm-hmm. you know, from TNA. Peyton Royce from but yeah, the way she does her kicks, like especially when she does them to the side, the way she kind of does it, very similar like that too. I like the dynamic here between both of them, like you said, because we do get Miko being, I'm the veteran here, and I feel like I'm more confident. I can like outsmart you because you're the younger person and you're the person with barely any experience. But when Caroline really picks up the speed, she really picks up on it because she does the head scissors. So she'll keep going at her for a while, and then Miko would do one move and like stop her. And like you see that back and forth they have with each other. And it's like Sweet Caroline would do a couple of moves, you know, pick up that momentum in the match, and then Miko would just stop it with just 1 or 2 moves and give her that back and forth they had here. And I loved her Fisherman Buster with the bridge. That was pretty well done too from Caroline. But yeah, I have so many points that I thought that Caroline was going to win too, because the back and forth they have with each other, she was picking up a lot of momentum pretty often during the match. But Miko wins at the end, but still I feel like it was a great showing for her. And just both of them in general, because I like the dynamic they have with each other here and the story we had of like, I'm overconfident because I'm the veteran, you're still not going to beat me. And she does it in the end.
Yeah, I thought it was a really well-told story in a match with 2 younger wrestlers who really put on a hell of a show. And at the end of the day, I was very intrigued by this match. Speaking of matches that were intriguing for reasons I didn't expect, we are having our first multi-promotional storytelling that's happened. So when we covered Action Pro Wrestling in ROH's Dean 3 show, we met a man named Mad Dogg Connolly. And in that match, Mad Dogg Connolly worked with an eye patch. We found out tonight why he worked with that eye patch. It happened to be at West Coast Pro Wrestling's event prior to this match. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't this show. It was the show that they had before that, where they had gone ahead and had Mad Dogg Connolly in an I Quit match where he had a stake driven into his eye, which caused the eye injury that he wrestled with at the show. I think that's kind of fun for us as we've covered both of these shows now. So it's a little bit of a, sidewinding story. With all the variety of independent wrestling, do you take notes about wrestlers that are up and coming for the... Absolutely. I now have a list of wrestlers that I purposely go and find places that they're working and promotions that they're working. On top of the fact that I also have a list of promotions that I want to keep up with. Like, the great thing about, and again, we'll talk about it when we talk about it more when we have shows that are on it. Indie wrestling television, IWTV, pay the $10 a month. If you're into independent wrestling, there is something for everybody there. If you're the deathmatch sicko like our good friend Lauren Goodnight, you've got CZW on there. You've got NHB, No Holds Barred Wrestling. You've got things on there that you can get. If you like the things like I like Dreamwave, like Uprising, Beyond Wrestling, all of their stuff is all on there. Action Pro Wrestling, places we've covered, because guess what? That's where we're finding a lot of this content, because not everybody's telling their stories on YouTube. We love it when they have YouTube because it makes it easier for us to promote those shows. And by the way, West Coast Pro Wrestling is all right up here, including West Coast Pro Wrestling on their YouTube. So definitely go ahead and check that out. So yeah, it was interesting to see Mad Dogg Connolly again. This is now the third show that we've seen Mad Dogg Connolly on, because we also saw him on our show with JCW. And again, this will be the first time, it won't be the last time that we talk about JCW on this show, I don't believe. Oh, we've got Lewis in the chat. Hello, Mr. Lewis. You're up late. Go to bed. Mad Dogg Connolly is taking on AJ Gray here. AJ Gray is a name that I remembered. I never remember watching his matches, but I remember this being a name of an up-and-coming indie talent that I was like, oh, I remember that name. This match was a fucking slugfest. Like, these are big dudes. And it wasn't, they didn't rise to the level of big, meaty men slapping meat, because I don't think either one of them were big enough to be big, meaty men slapping meat. But this was a hoss fight. This was a slobber knocker. This is that, fisticuffs kind of match. My employer would be very unhappy with how many times I watched this match while on the clock, because I watched this match twice in its entirety today. I really enjoyed this match. I thought these two guys had a bunch of chemistry. And on top of having a bunch of chemistry, I really thought that these two guys put on a hell of a match. They knew the story they were going to tell, and they went out and they did it. And the things they did were... Nothing was super complicated, but everything looked great. And sometimes you need a match where... Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You can tell my employee. My one employee that I have underneath me, about my time theft. But no, I thought this was really, really good. And I enjoyed everything that this match did, because it was just something different that nothing else on this card had. And that's really good for me. I really enjoyed that. I mean, I ran a gas station. I ran a gas station on my own at one point, so I did have subordinates below me. So
I think what I like the most about this is, and even with this whole card, is the styles that we get out of this, because this one had the powerhouses kind of going against each other here. And it's completely different from any other matches we have on this whole card too. You can't compare it to any one of them. And I feel like they did really well together. There was, for me in this card, there was no bad match whatsoever. There was no match that I'm like, okay, I can skip this. Or I could just watch it at 2-speed because I'm not interested in it. I had nothing like that going on with this. Not even with the whole card altogether. But yeah, I like overall the chemistry they have with each other. Even with the styles being kind of similar to each other, how they still are able to mesh so well during this whole match. And I like the fact that, like what you said, even I didn't realize it because I was mostly watching instead of listening. And then when you told me about the Mad Dogg thing, then it just made me laugh thinking about the continuity of it at the end. I'm like, we love a good storytelling, especially when it goes across promotions. Why not, And the fact that we get an explanation like this is something that I wasn't expecting during this whole show. But
like
yeah,
the fact that, and like I said, the fact that it's just like this random throwaway line, like he was on our last show, he was in this I quit match, and it led to this eye injury. And like they didn't even reference the other thing, but I'm like, as I'm listening to it, I'm putting it together, and I'm like, wait, Mad Dogg Connolly, eye injury. Oh my God, their last show was the show right before Action D. And I'm like, that's just kind of cool that we kind of cover it like that. So we get these cool little things. We move on to our first title match of the evening as all of the West Coast Pro titles are on the line. And this is our West Coast Pro Golden Gate Championship match. I do love me a promotion that names things after the places that, like, it tells me exactly where this promotion was. If I hadn't listened to commentary and they told me that they were a San Francisco promotion, I would have known, hearing Golden Gate Championship match, all right, we're in California. We're in a specific area of California if we're talking the Golden Gate Bridge. And this is from Flyboy Andrew Cass, who holds, I forget what they called their special cup that he won, but he won some kind of a tournament for a cup, which is always nice. You love a tournament with a trophy. Those are always cool to have. Taking on the champion, Alpha Zoe. Alpha Zoe is my first one you have to watch coming out of this, because this dude is incredible. Flyboy Andrew Cass is probably one that you should watch too, but it's not my preferred style of professional wrestling. So I'm going to talk about Alpha Zoe, who's a bit of a bigger dude, who's doing a lot of the power spots in this match. And the fact that this match is as good as it is, babyface versus babyface, because the story is Alpha Zoe's like coming out with the championship, and he's still bothered by how he won this. And they don't fully explain how he won and why he's so conflicted. But I love the idea that there's a babyface who won the title in a way that he must not be too thrilled with, and came out with this like little bit of a hesitation on it. Love it. It gives a built-in story to the match they can continue to tell. Andrew Cass was sensational in this. I thought he was great. But again, to me, it's just the power of Alpha Zoe and the way he's able to ragdoll Andrew around the ring was just fantastic. Ashley, what you got about this one?
I hope you don't judge me for my comparisons, but to me, Alpha reminded me a lot of Obafemi. And Andrew reminded me a lot of a younger Nathan Frazier before he has the gear that he has now, when he was a little bit younger. And that's all I could like kind of draw in my mind as I was watching this match.
I kept going Mandrews for Flyboy Andrew Cass. Mark Andrews,
that's another
from
one,
NXT UK.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like Alpha Zoe. He's not nearly as big and beefy as an Obafemi. He has a similar style to Obafemi.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's not nearly that beefy dude.
Yeah.
Like when Oba came out on NXT a couple weeks ago, I looked at him and go, he got bigger.
Yeah, but for me, the comparison is more about like the style, because they do have similar styles. Like Zoe, definitely, I feel like he kind of wrestles sort of like the way Obafemi does. But the Andrew reminded me of a very young Nathan Frazier when he was like AW Dark, for example, like that kind of Nathan Frazier that I was watching. So watching this, it just reminded me a lot of that. And then Zoe, such a powerhouse. Like the way he just moves is so smoothly done. That's why I say it reminds me so much of Obafemi, because he does moves that he probably shouldn't be doing, but he does them so well and smoothly. You don't even realize it when you're watching it. He did almost like a black hole slam at one point. It almost looked very similar to it. Very nasty too. And the whole back and forth they have with each other is like, it's kind of similar to like that Miko's with Caroline dynamic of like, you have Andrew doing the sort of move, but then Zoe is able to like break him down with just one move, because that's how powerful he is. And I love the dynamic they have with each other here. And it's like at one point, I think it was, Zoe went to do a splash, and it was countered by the knees too. But even the lariats, like that was so nasty too. Even when Andrew was counting them, doing the counters too. But I was surprised at the end that Andrew won, because I really thought that Zoe really had this match in the bag. So I was very surprised at the end when it was a 3 count and Andrew was celebrating. I was like, are you sure that was a 3 count? Because I was not expecting that to happen to begin with. But again, they had a great match.
Trust me, you weren't the only person who's surprised. Flyboy Andrew Cass was a bit surprised that he won. Alpha Zoe, once he came to, was a bit surprised that he lost.
Yeah.
The crowd seemed a little shocked that he was like.
I don't know if it was me. It felt like it was a silence at first because people didn't realize if he had won or not. It felt that way. I don't know if it was me the way I perceived it, but it just kind of felt that way, like that you have like that like moment of silence or like that moment of hesitation, whether you don't know whether to cheer or not because you don't know if he won or not. It just felt that way too. But I was very surprised that he won in the end.
Then a masked wrestler comes out and attacks Zoe. His name is Brett, and I feel bad because I didn't take his name down of his notes. I didn't take note of his name in my notes. So I have no idea what he is, who he is. But he came out. He is the former champion who Zoe defeated. And he attacks Zoe, and then out comes Mad Dogg Connolly, and everybody's like, oh, this is bad for Alpha Zoe. And as soon as commentary was like, oh, this is bad for Alpha Zoe, I'm like, oh, there's going to be a little switch up here. We're going to get a swerve here. And of course we did. Mad Dogg Connolly arrives, and he knocks down Brett instead of Zoe. And he gives the most violent, respectful handshake I've ever seen in my fucking life to Alpha Zoe, and then he shoves Zoe into the corner and walks away. I'm hoping for a three-way at one of their future shows. I know they got a winter show coming up. Kind of hoping for this Brett Zoe Mad Dogg three-way. I think that could be a lot of fun. Be a lot of fun in that with like Mad Dogg obviously not caring who he beats up. Alpha Zoe and Mad Dogg are about a similar size, so that'll be a bit of a beefy dude match. And then this Brett guy seems like he's got some skill. He's not nearly as built as the other two guys, but I feel like there could be some fun to be had with the three of them in there. But yes, we have a brand new Golden Gate champion, our first championship match, and we have our first new champion. We then get a first time ever match. They're being real liberal with this first time ever thing because Mel, if you're still in the chat, you can definitely correct me on this as the Japanese wrestling expert. There's no way Karl Fredericks didn't take on Gabriel Kidd in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm almost certain this match happened at some point in New Japan Pro Wrestling. By the way, as obligatory, we're talking about a Karl Fredericks match, which means we have to have the updated photo to Mel to squeeze out. Now, again, Gabriel Kidd is another one of the shit human beings who does the wrestles very well, so we're going to talk about him in a wrestling sense and remind everybody that Gabriel Kidd is a terrible human being when it comes to some people. There we go. There's the squeeze. I can take this down. I'll be honest, this match was a bit of a banger. As much of a trash human being as Gabe Kidd could be, he's really good at being an in-ring wrestler. The way his mouth never fucking stops. It reminds me of somebody. I can't quite put my finger on who it reminds me of, who never fucking shuts up. Asher, why don't you go ahead and talk for a minute?
I wonder who that could be. The thing I was disappointed at, I really wanted Karl to win this one. It's not even with the Gabe Kidd thing. I just like, ever since he was released from NXT, I haven't really seen much of him. And this is probably one of the very few times I do see that he has a booking. And just watching, it's like, I really wanted him to win the match to begin with. And I was disappointed that he didn't, to be honest. And it's not even just a Gabe thing. It's just like because I like Karl Fredericks. I really want to see more of him. It's something that we always talked about in NXT, that we always felt like we didn't get to see him to show his potential in NXT, and we wanted more from him. Because when they put him on TV, it wasn't exactly what we expected it to be. And then all of a sudden he would just disappear. He would be on TV for a couple of weeks, do his thing, and then just disappear, and then just come back like nothing happened. And it was a whole endless cycle for both of us with him because we just wanted to see more of him, but it wasn't the way we thought it would be. This was very interesting because I seen bits and pieces of Gabe Kidd before, but obviously Karl Fredericks is the one I'm used to watching more than anything. This was one of the ones I feel like it was more of a longer match, and you can see that they had moments that they would do their thing, and then I don't want to say stop, but they had moments that they were waiting, give that moment for the crowd to react to that, to what they were doing compared to most people. And it just felt like they went for a while, because I just felt like at the end, I just felt like Karl was almost dead at that point when the match ended. Um, but it was pretty. It was, I think you said, it was a decent match for me. It just, I have a bias against the other person, so that's what I was like. I could do without him being on the card. I really couldn't care less. But I just want to see more of Karl, please. Somebody book him more often.
Yeah, so they did meet in tag matches at various times, but apparently it's the only time because Karl was in LA while Gabe Kidd was in the New Japan. I had thought when Gabe Kidd had come and done all the New Japan Strong stuff at one point, I assumed that they would have had a match. But I'm allowed to be wrong. I'm wrong very often. People think I'm right all the time. I'm really not. I'm really wrong a lot. That's why when I'm right, I get to have things like this. Hold on, where is it? I may have to replace that clip because that guy's coming under fire too. I might have to. It's so weird. All the clips that are like things that I say that are right are all people that are just so problematic. I need to find clips of good people saying this. Anyways, problematic. No, I thought this was a really great match. I thought these two guys really killed it. It's the kind of match that you'd expect you'd get from two guys who were trained in the LA dojo and the New Japan dojo, going through that New Japan system, because they're both New Japan dojos of things, being trained by people who understand the strong style. You got exactly what you expected out of this match. The ability to wrestle the style that Gabe Kidd wrestles and never shut your fucking mouth, and still have the breath to have the match he had here. Again, trash human being he is, banger wrestler he is too. And I love the idea that the pile driver went on and Karl kicks out. And Gabe's like, all right, talk some trash, do a thing, hit a pile driver again. Like, they were like, oh, he did it right away. And I'm like, no, Gabe Kidd did Gabe Kidd things in between and then hit the pile driver and won the match. Like, it is what it is. It is what, he is who he is. Yes, more Karl Fredericks on shows, please. More Karl Fredericks on non-GCW shows, please and thank you. Because he's in a few with Mance Warner on GCW, and it's like, not dealing with the GCW at all. So can we book him on other things, please and thank you? But yes, for those of you that do miss your Gabe Kidd be kidding, yes, he did indeed be kidding the whole match. If you do want to see Karl Fredericks more often, sign up for his Twitch. He does DJ streams probably about once a week. I used to send him to Mel every time he went live, just to make sure that she knew that he was live. Because the great things when he was like just starting doing it, he had like 5 people in there, and he responded to every comment that was going on while he was doing his DJ thing. But again, would you really want to be doing the wrestling thing when you're doing your DJ thing and you're with Dakota Kai? You're like, do you really want to leave the house and do the wrestling thing, or do you want to just stay home and do that? Because, I'm all in favor of staying home. Yes, Mel. I figured you want here one more look, Mel. Here you go. The updated Eddie, as I call him, the updated Eddie Thorpe. All right. Bye. He's all gone. This is where we went to intermission before we came back for a second first time ever match. This was a first time ever match that I was certain of when it was announced. Willow Nightingale of AEW takes on Maya Worlds, who's been making the rounds in Ring of Honor lately, which is good for her. Hopefully they sign her in Hyon, because that would be great. I would really like it if the two of them got signed. I believe Billy Starks put out a thing, just stop the BS and sign them already. I'm assuming that was in terms of the two of them. Because didn't Billy Starks and Althena just take them on Ring of Honor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, was that the match where they filled in for the two people who thought they were bigger than the business, or was that a different match?
No, this is the match that they were scheduled to have originally.
Okay.
The collision one is the one that they replaced the other two.
Where they replaced the people who thought they were bigger than the business.
Mm-hmm.
because they either wanted to win the match that they shouldn't have had any business winning, or they just wanted more time in the match that they had no business winning. And they thought that they needed more time as unsigned talent who weren't going to get signed. And so they just left so they didn't get any time, as opposed to getting just a little bit of time.
Yeah, so the Ring of Honor one is the original plan.
Okay, so Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
I love how I'm just sitting here throwing shade because it's just so, one of them deserves to have shade in front of them, and the other one's just kind of stuck in the middle, and obviously making poor life choices for herself.
Mm-hmm.
I did see one indie promoter saying, "Yeah, good luck getting booked on indie shows now." If you, and by the way, I think it's kind of funny considering that person's been on the market for a long time, and I've seen like 5 advertised show that person's on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Karl Fredericks been released less time, and I feel like I've seen him have more matches than that person.
Mm-hmm.
All right, enough hate. Willow Nightingale versus Maya World. Maya World is the it girl and deserves all of the praise. AEW, sign her now, please. This is just a great match. The only disappointing thing about this match is that Willow didn't come out to Willow's AEW music.
Mm-hmm.
To her old indie music, which is fine, which is good, but it's not the Willow music from AEW that always makes me smile.
You know. Mm.
Yeah, I was sad that we didn't get the Willow music. Otherwise, banger. What'd you think of the match, Astrid?
This was so. I like at the beginning when they start imitating each other. That was so funny. The way that Willow does Maya's. Well, I think Maya did it first. No, yeah, Maya did her Willow's impression first, and then Willow did Maya's at the end. But I like when the dynamic that we have in this match, particularly because it's one of those that Maya's like, yeah, I might be more of the rookie compared to Willow, but that's still not gonna stop me from showing off who I am. And I like the fact that she would do a kick up, and then all of a sudden she would go like this to Willow. It's like, no, 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 it's not gonna work with me. And then Willow does her kick up, and she's like, ah, see, I can do it too. So it almost looked like that, kind of like that friendly competition they have with this to see who can one up the other one. But again, I like the dynamic here because they're such powerhouses with each other. It's like one would hit the other one, but it's like the other one would barely move, or they would try to one up the other one from what they did before. And they had so much fun during this whole thing. I feel like even the crowd didn't know who to cheer for because they wanted to cheer for Maya versus for Willow at the same time. But overall, I love the dynamic here. I love that Indian, even with Willow when she shakes Maya's hand, and it's like, this is one of those moments that's like, we present to you somebody. It's for those of you that don't know about Maya. This is a good introduction to her as well. And again, like we've been saying it for weeks now, she's been in a few of our shows at this point, and she's been killing it. She's everywhere, getting booked everywhere. I don't know how she does it, to be honest, but I hope she does get signed because I feel like it would be one of those, like, it's kind of like when it happened with Willow when she got surprised with the graphic and everything. I feel like it'll be one of those moments too. That will be one to remember in AEW when it does happen. But again, Maya's killing it, so keep that going, girl, because you're doing amazing.
Yeah, no, I thought the match was great. And of course, Maya World is getting booked everywhere. I just feel bad that I feel like we're a curse on her because every show that we see of her that we're like, we want to cover this show, Maya loses. Want to cover this show, Maya loses. Want to cover this show, Maya loses. I almost feel like we shouldn't cover any more Maya World matches just so we can start having her win some matches on the independent scene. Because poor, and again, no fault of her own. The booking of winning and losing isn't Maya World. And again, you'll hate me for this one. One person gets over, the other person goes over. Willow went over, Maya got over. Not that she wasn't over when she came out. I'm just trying to see on this list. I'm looking up the women's 250. Willow Nightingale is 27. Where is Maya World on this list?
She's either 40s or 50s.
That's what I thought, but I'm not seeing her.
If I remember correctly. I think didn't you? I think you posted it somewhere. I think it was.
I have the list that I posted, but for some reason, like I said, I'm on the women's 250 from 2025, and I'm way too far down the list for my world. So we're just gonna
Yeah,
move on. I thought she was in the top 52, but I'm not seeing her name, unless she's ranked higher than Willow, which would be a bit of a stretch.
I don't think it was.
We're gonna skip it for now because I can't figure it out. If you look up Blue from the
Oh, here, 84 founder.
Oh, is it? Okay, it's not far down. Yeah, there she is. Maya World, number 84 on the PWI. So 27 versus 84. Again, to even consider that we have two women on this panel from that thing is pretty impressive. But that's not the end of our women's wrestling because we have our West Coast Pro Women's World Championship match. Johnnie Robbie taking on Dani Luna. Ashley, what you think?
Oh my god, this match was so hard hitting. And it's one thing that I realized while watching this is that I was more thinking while watching TNA that I like Dani with Jody Threat. But now that Dani has been by herself since they disbanded as a team, I've seen Dani get booked more in the indies pretty recently. And to see her having those matches that are so hard hitting and completely by herself, I like the fact that we get her highlighted so often now because she is doing her singles run. And I feel like it was great timing for her. I love that at one point Johnnie does 3 lariats to Dani and Dani barely moves. She just moves back a little bit and goes back and she's like, nope, that's not it. And then she does it at least 3 times and still doesn't do it. But I like the fact that there's so many points in this match that I really thought Dani was gonna win it because she was in control. She had that power. Every time this was one of those like she was in control most of the match, so I really thought she had it. So at the end when Johnnie does her Meteora from the top and then she wins, I was very surprised about it. I thought really Dani had it like from the beginning here because she's the one that did the most offense during this whole match. But again, she's such a powerhouse and she looks so incredible. I'm glad she's doing this part where she's doing a singles run here. She's just doing incredible work here whenever she's by herself. And it's something that I didn't think I would say because I enjoyed her with Jody, but at the same time, I like that she gets to highlight herself here by herself.
I was introduced to Johnnie Robbie on this card, and I can say I did not expect nor respect your game enough, young lady. My God, was she really good? Her selling is sensational. She was beaten the fuck down through this entire match. Dani Luna was a beast in this match. The only criticism I could talk about this match for 5 minutes about the great things that went on it. We got to interview Johnnie Robbie. Oh, that's great. She was spectacular. I had not heard of her before. I will definitely one to watch because she was spectacular here. Because there's a way to tell the story with being the underdog. It's just not normally that the underdog is the champion going into the match. Ooh, LA Dojo Girl. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Would make sense considering she's out in that California area doing these shows. The one criticism I have of this is a bit of a nitpick, but I want to bring it up because I think it's important. Johnnie does the Meteora from like the first rope and she does like the straight Meteora on her with the knees and she doesn't get the 3 count. Then she does a couple moves and then Dani takes over again, but then she hits her with something else and she goes to the top rope to do the Meteora from the top. And Dani just stands in position, not selling, not really stunned, back turned to the top rope, just waiting for the spot. I just didn't like it. It's one of the things I don't love a lot about AAA, CMLL, places like that is there's the waiting for a spot. I don't like it in any wrestling company, but I see it a lot more in the lucha libre style, where you know the spots you're going to do, you know the spots, and you help get the spots done. And it just, she stood there just long enough for me to notice that she was just sort of standing there waiting for the spot to happen. And I'm like, damn, because this was an A+ match, and then that brings it down to like an A-, because it's just such a good match. At the end of the day, though, that Meteora with her back turned is indeed a move of trust. Like, the level of trust you have to have in your friend to be able to take a Meteora from behind, it's pretty insane. I mean, I love this. It was great.
Mel
Johnnie
and I
gets the
talk
big one.
about that very often. I tell you that in NXT, especially the ladies, have figured out a good formula for this because they just start, like they say, the faces will hold down the heels in the moment so that somebody does a moonsault or whatever it is, they will come down and it will hit the heels, or they would look like they're arguing, and then you can see them like they're looking up for and waiting for the spot, but they're arguing. They're not really like staying there. They're arguing. Of a sudden, when the spot happens, so somebody moves and then somebody takes it. So they're always trying to do something in the moment, so it doesn't look like they're just waiting. And I feel like the NXT girls do it quite often, so it's very rare. I saw it actually. Oh my gosh, I forgot what I was watching. Oh, I think it was during Raw, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody actually did it, and they were waiting for the spot, and it irritated me at that moment because I'm like, the girls from NXT would have figured this out. It would have done something else at the moment to like wait for it until it actually happened. So that bothered me at that moment there. But yeah, Mel like talk about that book pretty often.
And like I said, there's a difference between like us, like in a match, waiting and not doing anything, and having your back turned, not selling and waiting for us. Like I said, it was the point where she wasn't really selling. That's where I lost the moment. And that's what hit it. And like I said, it's a nitpick. I understand it's a fair criticism, and I appreciate Mel having my back on this one. Because like I said, it's just one of those weird things that I have where it's something that takes me out of the moment for some reason, and I hate it. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. And I hated that it happened here because everything else in this match is so good. Tell a fan to shut up, sell an injury, be creative. Yeah, especially on the indies where you have the freedom to kind of do what you want. Hey, Joe, we appreciate you having us on in the background. We greatly appreciate it. We haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for joining in. We then go to... All right, this is going to surprise some people. This is my match of the night. And I'm taking the main event out of it because the main event doesn't count for that. And I'll tell you why in a little while. I didn't know anything about these two boys coming into this. I'd heard one of their names, but I didn't know anything about the Crush Boys. Those are the tag team champions here. Starboy Charlie, who I've heard of before, and Titus Alexander. I am now a massive Titus Alexander fan. These two are my one to watch because these two are fucking incredible. Taking on the Cowboy Way, one called Manders and Thomas Shire. Now, if you'll remember our JCW review, we did not highly rate the Cowboy Way. This is a thing where we can talk about how match styles imprint a thought about a tag team. About any wrestler, but in this case, we're going to go with tag teams. Because the two big tag matches that were on that JCW show were both kind of no-holds-barred kind of fighty matches that me and Asher just weren't into. So I saw the Cowboy Way and went, oh, goody. I was pleasantly surprised that they can wrestle an entirely different style than what we saw on the show from JCW. However, in a match with 4 men in it, whom I don't know the sexual the sexual preferences of any of them, I will say there was a lot more kissing in this match than I was expecting. Like when we talked about, and again, back to other shows, when we talked about the Savage Nomis taking on the Cosmic Cuties, I expected that there might be kissing in that because you have Ava Everett and LSG, real life couple. versus Bear Bronson and Gabby Forza, real life married couple. The kissing in that match makes a lot of sense. One called Manders and Thomas Shire sharing a kiss at one point during the beginning of this match wasn't on my bingo card. Then the crowd chanting for one more time to have Titus Alexander come in the ring and kiss his tag team partner, seemingly without his tag team partner's knowledge or consent, was a little awkward. What was more awkward was when commentary brought up that it seemed to be something that Starboy Charlie didn't agree with. And I'm like, I understand where you're going with this commentary, but we should really just stop talking about this. And then, I believe if I'm correct, Thomas Shire then kissed Titus Alexander. And then Starboy Charlie went up on the top rope on the other corner, and Manders kissed him. And then one of each team kissed the referee, and there was far too much. Again, to each their own.
It was a kissing fest.
Love who you want to love. I don't care who you want to love, who you love. All love is love. Like, as long as you're not hurting nobody, I don't give two shits who you love. But I don't need this much kissing in my wrestling. I'll be honest. There was a bit too much kissing in general for my wrestling. It didn't matter that it was 4 guys. It wouldn't have mattered if it was 4 girls. Hell, there was too much kissing in this, as I said before, in the LSG and Ava Everett match. There was too much kissing there too. So less kissing, more wrestling.
Maybe. No, yeah,
Ash was like, no. Ash was like, no, I like this. It's okay. More kissing.
No. I agree with you.
Okay.
It's a bit much to begin with the match with. It just, what's the point in it, to be honest? I get it when there's a couple, because you could do like kiss of death kind of angle, but if you're not really a couple somehow, why?
It was just weird. It was a weird start to a really good match, because this match is sensational. The way the Cowboy Way works is so intriguing and interesting. One called Manders is an MLW or former MLW talent. If Bobby's still in the chat, he can go ahead and let us know about that. But I know I remember him in MLW for a period of time. Him and Thomas Shire, okay, he is still currently MLW. Thank you, Bobby. Ash is trying to press buttons.
Hey.
I really like this tag team now. I thought the Cowboy Way, I was pleasantly surprised at how good they are. I was really impressed with Thomas Shire's ability to work a fake injury. Whether that's fake or real, that knee injury, he worked really, really, really well with that injury. Like, I thought we were going to get another PPW moment where he like lays on the apron and can't go for the rest of the match. And we were going to get a handicap match. But Starboy Charlie and Titus Alexander, to go back to comparisons that may or may not upset people, Titus Alexander reminds me of Chad Gable and Jason Jordan put into one package. Because he does the chaos theory, as a finish. He has that look of a Jason Jordan, but he has that charisma of a Chad Gable from American Alpha. Like, he's got that vibe to him. Starboy Charlie is just a star. But he reminds me a bit of, it's a name that you mentioned earlier. He reminds me a lot of a Nathan Frazier. He's got that speed, that ability, that high flying to him. But I love the idea that it's also a bit of a Kurt Angle, where he wears the fucking denim, denim overall, that denim dragon. Like, that's a cool, fun gimmick that I didn't see coming. And the idea of like bringing the straps down and then not getting the finish of the match, so he brings the straps back up just to take them back down again. I loved this match. I was so happy that I was able to watch this after I finished my work day. that I was really able to go in there and just watch the match. This is absolutely sensational. One called manager is great, but my ones to watch for this whole card, if I can only pick two people, it is absolutely the Crush Boys, Starboy Charlie and Titus Alexander. Alexander's finish is called the Big Ugly. Interesting. They kept saying the Chaos Theory. They didn't really actually give it its actual name because the Big Ugly was never once mentioned on this show on commentary.
No. And even then, when I was messaging you while I was watching this, I didn't want to like give anything away because I know you were a little bit behind than I was. But I told you from the beginning, I said the Cowboy Boy just reminded me of Lance Cade and Sharon Murdoch, the way they were working here. And it's like I feel like I went back to those moments on Raw when there was a tag team, and I feel like they reminded me a little bit of FTR as well. I feel like they had a good balance between both of them. But it just reminded me a lot more of Lance Cade and Sharon Murdoch while watching this. And I like the way they worked the match too, because they also isolated Titus for most of the match here. So they were working in such a way of keeping him away from Star Warriors for most of the match, I would say. But I like the chemistry they have, though. Like the fact that we get these guys they have like a slower pace to them versus the Crush Boys are very fast paced. So I like the contrasts and styles that we get from both of them here. But I really, like you said, I was like, I feel like the Crush Boys really stood out to me in this match. So they're definitely the ones I want to keep watching after this. But I enjoyed this match with the Cowboy Boy because I feel like it was better than the other one that we watched. So I definitely feel like this is the better match out of the two that we see from them so far. So that made me feel like I want to watch more of them. But I definitely think the Crush Boys are definitely my ones to watch after this. Definitely loved them.
Oh yeah. Oh, this was fantastic. And again, like I said in the beginning, it just shows how important a match style is to your enjoyment of a product. Me and Astrid both are very forgiving when it comes to watching pretty much anything. But the difference in both of us with the talk about watching the Cowboy Way in this versus the other is okay. So the Chaos Theory is a rolling German suplex with a bridge at the end, which is fantastic. Oh, by the way, something we didn't mention, Jushin Thunder Liger was the guest timekeeper, and I loved how when the Crush Boys got the win to win the match, when Jushin Thunder Liger came in to present them with the championships, because they've been on an excursion to Japan, and Mel will really enjoy this. Instead of just bowing to Liger, they got on their knees and they basically like worshipped Liger as a god, which he should be because he is one of the greatest Japanese wrestlers of all time. And again, his in-ring skill will be eclipsed by people like Omega and people like Okada and people like Naito and all of that. But Jushin Thunder Liger brought Japanese wrestling to the world stage to bring the birth of all those other guys. Okay, Noah. Okay, that makes sense. All right, it works. Hey, I like the Big Ugly. I hope the rest of the commentary team start picking that up because that's a fun name. But I thought it was interesting and cool that they, had that respect for him and being able to have him there because Jushin Thunder Liger doesn't do a whole lot of appearances in the United States. So to have him on a show like this is a pretty big deal. No, Funaki was not the N-War guy. Funaki was just SmackDown's number one announcer. Sorry, I keep doing number one now because I saw Ichiban last night, and I just keep hearing number one in my ear because that's what they chant for him because he's number one Ichiban. I tried to touch Chips with Ichiban, but I wasn't allowed. He walked past me. That was sad.
That's what you get for not doing it to me.
Ichiban didn't watch the show. He doesn't know that I didn't touch Chips with you. I want to say Liger is a god, but like the world went to crap when he retired. Like that makes him very godlike. He retired and everything else went to shit. Seems very godlike to me. But the reason why our main event, the championship match, does not count as a match on this card is because anytime you have a championship versus career match, it's instantly something fantastic. It's also extra fantastic when you have such a hateable heel in this match. Now, I will tell you, before watching this match, I have never watched a Kevin Blackwood match. But I will also tell you, just based on things I've seen on social media, I hated Kevin Blackwood's character from the moment I saw about Kevin Blackwood's character. Because not only is he straight edge, he doesn't like alcohol, he also is a vegan. Like, the fuck is wrong with you? You don't do alcohol, and you don't eat meat? What is wrong with you, you miserable person? No wonder you're such an evil bastard. You have no joy in your life. I've lost interest in this wrestler. Change the channel. No, don't change the channel. Kevin Blackwood is a sensational professional wrestler. I love the gimmick, though. Like, he puts out, like, his lawyers have said that they want no alcohol served. They don't want any meat products served at the like. I love the idea that his like legal team on social media, and I keep waiting for like Luca Carusifino to tweet out some kind of paperwork that claims that he's his lawyer. Cucumber with anxiety. I love the fact that his social media makes him such a hateable heel that I hadn't even had to see him work to already be in Vinnie's corner. By the way, his opponent is Vinnie Massaro, who is a legend of the California indie scene, to the point where during the match they told us he wrestled John Cena. Do you know how long you've had to wrestle on the independent scene in California to have wrestled John Cena before he made it to OVW? Like
at least 20 years.
25, because isn't John Cena like 25, 26? Like, he wrestled at the beginning of his career. He wrestled John Cena.
I say that because I started watching wrestling around the time that Cena started getting popular.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been watching since the early 2000s. I can tell you it has to be at least 20 to 25 years. At least.
Yes. I also now love Vinnie. Vinnie was fantastic. Coming out to Dean Martin, doing the thing with the fingers, truly Italian dude. Like, this was great. And by the way, this match is fantastic. Five CPA. I'm not even going to make you wait. 5 CPA shirts for this match. I thought this thing was fantastic. Yeah. Kevin Blackwood is such a despicable piece of shit, but also so good. And by the way, this is all like character work. Unlike Gabe Kidd, he's not despicable in his real life, seemingly, only in his character on the television screen. I was cheering so hard against Kevin Blackwood as I sat back and watched this match, and I just enjoyed every minute of this 20-plus minute match. I mean, it was sensational. The selling from Vinnie, the douchebaggery from Blackwood, just so freaking good. Love this. 5 CPA shirts. If you watch anything from this show, please just fast forward to the last like 40 minutes of this show and watch this match. It's instantly. I agree. If you don't eat meat, you're instantly hateable. You just are. Bryan Danielson included. Sorry. Just instantly hateable. By the way, if you want to read a great piece from Bryan Danielson, go check out our friends at Paragon Magazine. They have an in-depth interview with him as he talks about all things AEW. Shout out Jamie Apps.
This is one of those. I was watching it while I was working too. I had to pause it so many times to process what I was watching. Just because I'm like, there's no way this happened. There's no way he kicked out of this. That's how it felt. There's moments that I'm like, I need to walk away. I need a moment and come back. But the back and forth they had here, there is so many also instances that Blackwood just had Vinnie right there and then that it almost felt like he was going to win. And it had me at the edge of my seat, even though I had a feeling that Vinnie was going to win it. But I still had me there at the edge of my seat just waiting. I'm like, no, there's no way he's going to lose it like this, is he? And Blackwood just doesn't stop. He really doesn't. He's just go, go, go in such a way that it's just so incredible to watch him just keep going and going. I don't even know how to describe it, to be honest, but it's just such a wonderful, such a great match. And when I saw that I had like about 30 minutes left, I was like, there's no way they go for that long. And it was almost that long to begin with. Um, I love that even at the end, like more towards like very, very end of the match, he even uses Vinny's elbow as a way to get back at him before before towards that finish there. And I love how Vinny then goes for that suplex and then goes for the elbow to win the match. But it's like the way that just like, I'm in your face. I'm gonna even do your own move and beat you with it, kind of thing. Like he has that mindset while he's going into this match. Holy moly! I had seen more of Blackwood, like you said, like on Twitter and things like that. Like I've seen him more on social media, but I hadn't seen his matches. Vinny, same thing. I seen him more on social media every now and then. But this is the first time I get to watch either one of them wrestle, and they did such an incredible job with their story here. And I love when everybody comes out just to cheer on Vinny at the end and hug and celebrate with him that he won the championship. But again, Chef's Kiss, incredible match.
5 CPA shirts. However, production, I have a gripe with you. I have a gripe with West Coast Pro Wrestling's production team. Vinny goes to give his championship address, and he starts talking, and then we get on commentary. All right, folks, thanks for joining us. We're going now. Bye-bye. And I'm like, oh, they're just going to like sign off a commentary and then let Vinny talk, and then they'll cut the stream. No, they just fucking cut the stream at the beginning of his chat. I'm like, no, how dare you? I was so upset. I love this match, though. This is a great promotion. I'm hoping we get to go back to them at another point in time. They're definitely on our list. Yes, my little heart. There's definitely not much to it, but that little heart that I do have did indeed break a little bit. We've covered Action Pro Wrestling a couple times. They're on our list of we just want to go ahead and watch them because we like what they do. Obviously, Dreamwave we've covered twice. We're going to be covering Dreamwave and Uprising in December. Spoiler alert. So be on the lookout for those because the Good as Gold show and the Uprising 7 show look fantastic already. And those shows haven't even happened yet. They're still announcing matches for them. We'll be back to December is going to be a lot of repeat shows that we've been to before. We're doing Ashe Wrestling again. We're doing Dreamwave again. Why we step? I don't know. I don't know why they cut it. Conrad, hello. If you want a great post show for all your AEW needs, go check out EPW Show on Twitter, on Twitch, and on YouTube. They are fantastic. We do love Conrad. Will you guys be doing a show next Tuesday with the U.S. Thanksgiving coming up? Yes, I will be doing a show next week with U.S. Thanksgiving coming up. Some of us have decided that they're not going to do the show.
It's Mama Natural's birthday.
I understand it's Mama Natural's birthday. We go on the air at 10 o'clock. Mama Natural is in bed already.
How do you know that?
Because I always hear the kids up at 10 o'clock at night, which means Mama Natural is in bed sleeping, or else they wouldn't be making that much noise.
Maybe.
Yes, the real star of the show will indeed not be here. I am working on getting a fill-in star. If the person I ask would ever answer me, that would be great. However, either way, if the funds are available, I will be going ahead and covering Fight Life Seance, which includes JT Dunn taking on what's his name? The man with the mustache, the one we always talk about. The signature move guy. Why can I not think of his name? Most marketable.
Yeah, Richard Holiday.
That's the one. Dick Holiday. Yes, Richard Holiday taking on JT Dunn for the Fight Life World Championship. She is a Latina on her birthday. You're Delulu if you think she will be in bed. No, that would be Delulu if I thought she wouldn't be in bed. I know Ashley won't be in bed. But Mama Natural, you know, she's going to be in bed.
Maybe.
She's going to be in bed. I'll get a message from you at the beginning of the show to tell us whether or not Mama Natural's in bed. How about that?
No.
Meaning. Anyways, we're hoping to do Fight Light Seance, which also includes Gangrel on the show. Like, I never thought in a million years that I'd get to talk about Gangrel on an indie show that we're covering.
I mean, he's in Florida often, so.
On shows or just there?
On shows that I know of, yes.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is Hollywood Astrid a 2-hour nap sleep zombie? No, Hollywood Astrid takes about a 2-hour nap after work every week.
No, it's not 2 hours. It's 1 and pushing it.
Sure.
Hey.
Gangrel in his real voice killed the aura for me. Oh, Dave's voice isn't that bad. Anyways, if you want to go ahead and... Why can I not? Oh, okay. I can't click SGG's comment away. So if you can do it, that'd be great. There we go. If you want to check out West Coast Pro Wrestling, Facebook.com/West Coast Pro Wrestling, WC Pro Official on Twitter, and of course YouTube, where they stream all of their shows live. You can go ahead and check them out at West Coast Pro Wrestling. Thank you for them. This was a great show. We greatly appreciate it. For our local establishment, you can find us all at the places down below. All day podcasts on all your favorite social medias. Our local establishment. We are less than 100 watch hours away from going ahead and getting monetized. Please help us get there. We're getting so close to the first level of monetization. But Hollywood Astrid, where can we find you? This week?
You can find me, my Twitter and Blue Sky is Astro Pizarro. My Instagram and Threads, Astro Pizarro 20. If you're on my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on the video, and you can comment. Let us know if you, whatever independent companies we haven't covered that you want us to cover too in the future. So.
Yes, please let us know. It's in 2026. We're going to need some new promotions we want to cover. We've got a list going of places we want to go. We want to go international in 2026. So we're already looking at Rev Pro. We're looking at what's the other? Eve Riot Girls of Wrestling. We're looking into them. All kinds of different stuff. I think Progress is another one we mentioned as a potential show that we want to cover. We want to do some international wrestling as well as some stuff here. Thank you all for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. I will be back next week, as Hollywood Astrid will be big timing me and not being here. But I'm here for the people because I love the people. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
I am in misery.